the causes of World War I or Sematala Soka. And today we are going to look at nationalism. How did nationalism cause World War I? Nationalism, that is the strong love a person has for the country, or the strong love someone has for his nation. So this is the time when you are looking at the causes of World War I. We've seen arms race, we have seen alliance system, and we've seen the first cause up here. We've looked at a number of causes of World War I. We looked at imperialism as the first cause, and we explained it. Then we went and we looked at the alliance system here with us. Then today we are going to look at nationalism as one of the causes of World War I. So nationalism also led to the outbreak of World War I in 1914. Nationalism is a strong feeling or love for one's nation, or the desire for one's society or country. All together? So nationalism, this refers to the strong feeling for one's nation and a desire for self-determination or independence. So this is when someone badly fights to remain independent. This is when you find someone is fighting for the nation. Ensi yange kwe kwagala ennyo ensi yo, eggwanga lyo, n'okuba ng'olina eddembe lyo, kye bayita nationalism. But we are seeing this culture or spirit of nationalism began, actually many of them adopted them from the French Revolution, where we saw the birth of nationalism, fraternity, equality, and liberty. So this was also one of the causes of World War I catastrophe of 1914. So nationalism, after knowing that it is the feeling someone has for the nation or society or country, it also meant that the desire by independent states to become dominant and protect their national goals or interests. This is when countries that had gained independence were eager to protect their independence from any kind of influence. Altogether? So, this spirit of nationalism had developed in Europe largely due to the Industrial Revolution and the rise of new powerful states like Germany and Italy. So the outbreak of World War I was driven by the high spirit of nationalism in Europe in the following ways. So we are going to see how did nationalism cause World War I. What we've been explaining is the introduction for nationalism. All together? So we shall see that nationalism did not start there and then, but it is a feeling that developed in different European powers, more so the independent one, that were interested much in remaining independent and even dominating other states, basically to protect their national goals. This is the time when we had got new powerful states of Germany and Italy. After Germany getting high unification and Italy getting high unification, they became one of the strongest European countries that started to dominate in the political arenas of Europe. So I want to see how did the nationalism open doors for World War I. One, nationalism promoted or gave rise to economic imperialism. So nationalism promoted or gave rise to economic imperialism, or the struggle for colonies by major powers in Africa and Asia. So after different European powers becoming independent, they started now to look for the ways of dominating the weaker states. Germany rushed for African territories. She went to Cameroon, she went to Togo, she went to Namibia, she went to Tanganyika, and they were confronting with Britain over Uganda altogether. So this led to the competition or rivalry among the great powers that eventually led to the outbreak of World War I. For example, Russia conflicted with Austria-Hungary in the Balkans, especially over Bosnia and Herzegovina. Germany also conflicted with France in North Africa, especially over Morocco in the Moroccan crisis of 1905. Altogether, we are seeing that European powers are confronting one another over territories. Russia and Austria-Hungary confronting over Bosnia and Herzegovina. Germany confronting with France over North Africa, that is in Morocco. So the two are confronting one another over territories. So this struggle between the major powers did not stop in Africa, but the struggle was shifted to Europe, which made them to confront one another into World War I. So Germany did not stop her conflict, and France did not stop her conflicts. Russia did not stop her conflicts against Austria-Hungary. That's why you are seeing Austria-Hungary allying with Germany. We are seeing France allying with Russia, making the Triple Entente Alliance and the Triple Alliance. So you are seeing how imperialism, how nationalism is causing World War I. That because of imperialism, because of nationalism, they have broke up economic imperialism. That is in terms of economic interests. Morocco was so profitable for France, whereas Germany was trying to take over Morocco. Bosnia and Herzegovina were so profitable for Russia. Austria-Hungary was claiming control over them, so it made them to confront one another, and later on opening more doors for World War I. Nationalism also intensified arms race. Arms race. This is the mental competition in terms of production of arms. So a strong spirit of nationalism encouraged the European powers to manufacture sophisticated or dangerous weapons as a way of protecting themselves from their opposition groups. Are you together? And also because of this arms race, mistrust, tension grow in Europe, whereby each country was claiming to protect each other, and at the end of the day, tension was seen increasing in Europe. Are we together? So dangerous weapons were produced, and also to create large arms so as to defend themselves against their revival, and as well as to achieve other national interests. For example, Germany under Kaiser William II wanted to become the world powerful state by creating a large empire in Europe to include Denmark, Poland, Switzerland. She therefore created a strong navy to achieve all this objective. Altogether. So this resulted into a military competition whereby Germany competed with France, competed with Britain, competed with Russia, which left the world still antagonized. Another one, nationalism increased the place propaganda. The place propaganda, these are the words from media houses. Are we together? Nationalism increased the place propaganda. The newspapers in various European countries were used to promote national feelings. For example, the newspapers in France were used to advocate for war of revenge against Germany. Altogether. So as for France to restore her two lost territories of Alsace and Lorraine. Are we together? So the French the French nationalities, or the French natives, or nations were trying to encourage France to fight Germany. Why? It is Germany that took over the two territories that belonged to France, Alsace and Lorraine. So they were trying to encourage their army to fight in World War I so as to restore their lost territories of Alsace and Lorraine. Are we together? Similarly, the German newspapers advocated for the creation of a strong German army that would dominate the whole Europe. So this press propaganda increased the enmity among the European powers, eventually sparking off the World War I in 1914. So bannamawulire nga bayita mu media houses ez'enjawulo bawandiika ebintu bingi, either ebyali byongera obunkenke ku ludda lwa France, ne bawandiika bingi ebyali byongera obunkenke ku ludda lwa Germany ne ba allies be. Kino nno tekyaleka ensinga eri kyekimu nti bannamawulire baasaakaanya nnyo nga bayita mu mawulire gaabwe ge bawandiika through their newspapers, through radios. Bawandiikanga ebintu nga exposinga demands za groups ez'enjawulo nti triple entity ekoze bweti nga tukiraba essaawa zino ekiri mu Ukraine bagaba kikabuka ne Ukraine ekubye Russia egikubye bwoti ne bwoti ate bula nti nedda Russia egamba no ate basse Brunonkov munamaje wa Russia atibwa mu Ukraine anaona nti oto wa Ukraine Velosiki atibwa kugamba kiteekawo obunkenke bungi ne kyongera supu sometimes n'ebitali bituufu ne babyongera mu supu okwongera okwesigaza waggulu. That's why if you hear very well abali updated now Russia ebagitira abajasi teyogera tekkirize gamba ama babalimba, that is propaganda. Lwaki baagala keeping their position higher than that of Ukraine. Even when Ukraine gets the same thing chechimu, so it created enmity, it increased the tension, and at the end of the day it left the world antagonized, leaving World War I inevitable by 1914. So let me end with this under nationalism. We are seeing nationalism made France to develop the spirit of revenge against Germany. Nationalism made France to develop that feeling of revenging for the loss of her two territories, that is after the Franco-Prussian War. Are we together? So because of the desire to revenge or to restore her past national prestige or glory, in bracket nationalism, France was willing to revenge on Germany, which had humiliated her in 1871 when she defeated her, and later on Germany grabbed the territories of Alsace and Lorraine and it took over them. So the spirit of revenge made France to enter into war in 1914 so as to defeat Germany and regain her two territories that Germany grabbed from her in 1871 after the Franco-Prussian War. Similarly, Germany was also ready to oppose France's revenge. Are we together? So similarly, the fear of France's revenge on Germany made Bismarck to start up the alliance system in the way of isolating France from the political arenas of Europe. So Germany under Bismarck, yatyanti France ayinza okuwoolera, how can I stop this? Let me isolate France from the political arenas of Europe. So because of this, Bismarck resulted on what we call the alliance system, which later on resulted into World War I, and we've seen how did this cause World War I. So let me end with this point here: the intense Slav nationalism or the pan-Slavism created conflicts and desire for independence in the Balkan, which led to the outbreak of World War I by 1914. A movement to unite all the Slav people had engaged in Eastern Europe. Are we together? This movement wanted to unite the Slav people that belonged to the Slav tribe of Hungary, Montenegro, Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Turkey. So this movement was known as the Pan-Slav movement. Serbia was a leader of this movement, and it wanted to create a large state of Slavs that was to be known as the Yugoslavia. Are we together? So this annoyed Austria-Hungary because the creation of this state was to lead to the disintegration or the breaking up of the Austrian Empire, which had Slavs. Therefore, the aims of the Austria was to attack and defeat Serbia to stop her plans of setting up Yugoslavia, a unity or a state that was to unite all the Slavs. Taking you back, when Serbia started her plans of bringing all the Slavs from different European powers to bring them together, Austria yakitegeera nti we banatandika this campaign of unifying the Slavs, egenda losing territories. Why? This is because some of the countries that were made up of Slavs were territories of Austria-Hungary. Are we together? So Austria knew that once Serbia succeeds in her plans of setting up Yugoslavia, a state or a large empire comprising of the Slavs, yali egenda losing territories to Serbia. So kati Austria yajja mu World War I to stop the plans of Serbia of Serbia to formulate Yugoslavia. So Austria yatyo losing her territories because Austria was an heterogeneous state. Yagamba Serbia were not succeeding in her plans of forming Yugoslavia. It is going to disintegrate our heterogeneous empire. Egena kutulamu Austria egwe. So kati Austria came to protect her heterogeneous empire, whereas Serbia came to formulate Yugoslavia to bring together all the Slavs. Are we together? So Serbia started up the Pan-Slav movement, which Austria came to condemn. Are we together? So kati kyabaleta okulwanagana nga Austria teyagala Serbia egatte all Slav states. Whereas Serbia yali yagala zigatta bakole kimu kye bayita Yugoslavia. Whereas Austria yagamba no, temujja zigatta kubanga emuzigattira tugenda losing our empire. By then Austria empire was strong. Are we together? So the Austrian empire was strong. Kati okugigatta awamu mukole Yugoslavia yali egenda fiirwa her position. Era kyamaliza kibatutte mu sematalo ebimu kwe byaleta Austria okulwana to stop Serbia's plan of setting up Yugoslavia, where European powers that were under, where all the Slav states were to be unified into one. So I beg to stop there with the nationalism, and we go to something else apart from nationalism. Let us see another cause of World War I. We have another cause here called the alliance, the arms race. Arms race is also one of the causes of World War I in Europe of 1914. Are we together? The arms race was the competition among European powers in the manufacturing of deadly weapons. Are we together? This is the time when European countries were competing in the manufacturing of dangerous or sophisticated weapons. It is the time when European countries were competing. If someone produces, let me say, a gun, a machine gun, another one goes and produces a gun which is even more modified than the other. So it is the time when ensi zaali zivuganya mu kuweesa aba mu kukola ebyokulwanyisa eby'ettabbu. European countries were competing in the production of dangerous weapons. If country A produces this, another ngende kopanga zaali zivuganya mu kukola ebyokulwanyisa binnamuzisa, sophisticated. Are we together? So this shift, or this competition, this stiff competition began between Britain and Germany. Bismarck had been very careful not to antagonize or not to challenge Britain at the sea. However, in 1900, Germany issued a navy law which clearly stated that she was building a battle fleet to challenge Britain at sea. This scared and annoyed the British government and the public. So when Germany, in the first place, Bismarck yasooka n'atya nga era yeegendereza nnyo obutakola nsobi kuteekawo kuvuganya wakati wa Germany ne Britain ku mazzi. Waki? Germany knew, Bismarck knew that Britain was so powerful on water. So Germany knew that they could not defeat Britain on water. So what did they do? Bismarck yalwana nnyo kulaba nga Germany ne Britain tebagenda mu lutalo oba tebafuna butakkaanya ku mazzi. However, mu 1900, Germany issued a navy law. Are we together? Kekana akaseera Bismarck amaze n'okugobebwa, because Bismarck yagobebwa mu 1809 by Kaiser Williams. Kati Kaiser Williams n'afulumya ekiwandiiko kye bayita navy law, etteeka ly'oku mazzi. Mwe yalangirira okuzimba the battle fleet, okuzimba emmeeri ennwanyi ez'oku mazzi basobole okuvuganya ne Bungereza to challenge Britain. Kino nno kyakanga Britain n'abatuuze ba Bungereza nga beebuuza what was Germany targeting. Olw'okutiisibwa Britain kwe yafuna okuva eri Germany nayo yateeka Britain mu kubunkenke. Britain kye yakola nayo n'etandika okuzimba emmeeri ennwanyi. Kino nno kyabatwala mu ssematalo nga bavuganya. But Bismarck, who was a diplomatic person, yagezaako okubeewaza okulwana at any moment okufuna confrontation between the two. Kakati Kaiser Williams azze ne bafulumya gye bayita Naville. Naville eno yali etegeeza nti tugenda ku mazzi tubayise tumujje tubinsane. So German ne producing warships ez'okumazzi n'eno n'efulumya. They said now to compete over who is the master of the sea and so on and so forth. So this left the world under pressure and tension. So the reaction, Britain started in the reaction of the law, naval law that Germany issued. Britain mukuddamu ekyo ekyafulumizibwa France yazimba kye bayita dreaded notches, emmeeri ennwanyi ez'okumazzi. Are we together? Britain started building larger, faster and more heavily armed battleships in order to meet the German challenge at the sea. All together. Germany agita kumendeka amuje tubisane. Koje Britain okay. Netandika okuweesa emmeeri ez'okulwana ezirwanira ku mazzi zikamenyo. All together. The battleships were known as the dreaded notches. When the Germans got information that Britain had started to build up dreaded notches, or let me say battleships that were to be used on water, Germany negamba okay, nange kangende mu gwesezo negenda netandika okuweesa. All together. Ensi neyongera obunkenke. Tension increased. So both countries continued to build more dreaded notches as a way of military, let me say, preparedness for the war by 1914. So this led the outbreak of World War I. Between 1909 to 1912, Britain produced 19 dreaded notches to counter the 9 of Germany. Altogether. So Britain yakola emmeeri zirubira ziri zikagagala ennwanyi zisula ebimenyo na biki 19. Ezaali outnumbering eza Germany omwenda. So kino kyaleka obunkenke Germany ngera abagiyiseeko nnyo. That's why in 1913 omusajja nga amanyiddwa nga Sir Winston Churchill proposed a navy holiday, but Germany refused. Churchill yagamba banaye, oyo Churchill wa Bungereza yagamba, let us have a navy holiday. Are we together? Tubereko ne ka ceasefire nga mu lutalo twane tukakanye. Germany n'agaana kubanga Germany yali yagala kakasa. France, which had since 1971 been looking for a day of revenging against Germany, embarked on an extensive arms program which drove her into war with Germany by 1914. Kitegeeza ne France wano yafunira akakisa eyakwagala edda akuwalana wawerekerwa kakubanja gubula asala kekana kaseera ne France yafunira omukisa n'agamba let me expose my anger to Germany. I've got a chance to show my hatred to Germany, my pain to Germany. This left the world again divided. Germany refused the navy holiday. Germany declared a navy law, and so Britain produced, and Churchill said, let us have a navy holiday. Germany agamba no. Are we together? So this left the world divided. Arms race created a sense of fear, suspicion, hatred, mistrust everywhere in various European states. So as the various European powers started to manufacture deadly or sophisticated weapons to scare or to catch up with Britain and Germany, the entire European continent was caught up in the state of fear and tension. Abantu bebuza kyekigenda maaso. Kyekigenda maaso abantu nga bali mu byakulwanyisa. To the extent that they even built schools. These schools were to teach people on how to manufacture such weapons. Banza bataka kukola amaato, bataka nosomesa abantu kukola amaato such that ebyokulwanyisa byeyongera mu ddwaniro. So this therefore increased the conflicts between the members in the Triple Alliance, i.e. Germany, Austria, and Italy, and those of the triple entity, France, Russia, Britain. As a result, they declared war on each other, leaving no room for escaping World War I. Nti obunkenke, okutya, obutesigangana byeyongera mu ddwaniro kubanga buli omu yatakyesiga munne. Kino ne kireetera ba members from different camps okulangirira olutalo eri abalala. Another one. Arms race encouraged the building of large armies and navies, which made World War I inevitable by 1914. For example, the German army enlarged and trained to the highest degree of efficiency. Kaiser Williams yeyongera ne batendeka amagye ga Germany okusukka okutuuka ku mutendera guli gwe beeteka yagatendeka nnyo, yagawa obudde okugateeka mu layini mwe bageetaaga. Russia and France also did the same, ne batendeka amagye ga buli omu n'abeera ready to engage. So by 1914, Germany and France boasted that each could field 3.5 million soldiers. Are we together? Inti ensi zino ebbiri Sematala agenda obalukawo asooka. Sarajevo Nambadde agenda obalukawo nga buli gye limaze okwepositioninga, buli group emaze okweteekateeka. Germany yali amaze okukola amagye gaayo gatadde mu line mu bagetaganga. Actually nga bawezezza buli almost 3 million soldiers, abasirikale obukadde 3. Agalwanira ku mazzi n'agalwanira ku ttaka. So kye baali basigaza is to exercise, gateeka mu field galwane. So obunkeke bweyongera. Nti arms race okuvuganya by'okwansi yabatera okukola amagye, buli omu n'abatandika okukola eggye eddwanye linaalwana. Are we together? So another one, let me end with this, with arms race. The aggressive character in bracket policies of Kaiser Williams II led to the outbreak of World War I. So when we come back, it is what we are going to start with, the aggressive characters, or the rise of Kaiser Williams and his aggressive characters. It is another cause of World War I. When we come back, it is what we are going to start with. I beg to submit. Have a good day.